The giant insectoid warbeast smashed through skyscrapers as it sprayed acid from its razor-sharp mandibles. But the Earth soldiers blasting it with rockets and lasers wouldn't let it destroy their world without one hell of a fight. Concrete and metal crashed down as the creature's armored hide deflected the humans' attacks. It carved a path of devastation through the once great Riemann city, now a crumbling ruin. Soldier Wayne Hicks dove for cover behind rubble as a glob of acid sizzled past. He checked his ammo, damn, running low already, his scarred face set in a scowl as he glanced to his 5 squadmates. Just 6 humans against a damn kaiju. Humanity's survival depended on them stopping this thing, but could they even dent it? A Riemann ship descended, and a 9-foot insectoid alien in shimmering black robes stepped out, multiple compound eyes glaring. Emperor Nox. 2 guards flanked him, toting giant plasma cannons. Wayne tensed, finger on his rifle trigger. Nox's scratchy voice boomed across the hellish scene. "Surrender, humans. Your struggle is pointless. I'll give you one last chance before I have my beast tear you apart." Wayne stood tall atop the rubble, his men at his back. "Fuck you, Nox. You aren't taking Earth. We'll fight to the last breath." "Then you've sealed your fate, along with your pathetic species." Nox turned his back on them and marched into his ship as it lifted off. Wayne locked eyes with each of his men, and they nodded back. They all knew it was do or die now for all mankind. As the warbeast smashed another tower in the distance, they reloaded, ready to sell their lives dearly to stop this damn thing. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. Wayne and his team barely had a moment to breathe as they stepped off the transport back on Earth. Crowds of grateful citizens mobbed them, cheering and waving signs proclaiming them as saviors. TV camera drones buzzed around, broadcasting their triumphant return across the globe. Wayne gritted his teeth, uncomfortable with all the attention. His men deserved the recognition, but he knew the fight was far from over. They pushed their way through the throng to a waiting military speeder that whisked them off to a fortified government complex. Inside, Earth's leaders were already deep in a heated debate, their voices echoing off the metal walls. "We must surrender," one gray-haired man shouted, slamming his fist on the table. "Negotiating a treaty is our only hope." A woman in a crisp uniform shook her head vehemently. "Surrender! To those monsters! We have to strike back with everything we've got." Other politicians joined the fray, arguing back and forth. Wayne could feel his frustration rising as precious minutes ticked by. He stepped forward, drawing all eyes to him. "With all due respect, sirs, we don't have time for this," he said, his voice cutting through the clamor. "The Raymonds are coming, and they won't stop until they've enslaved or exterminated every last one of us. We need to fight back, and we need to do it now." Silence fell over the room as the leaders stared at him, stunned by his blunt words. Wayne met each of their gazes unflinchingly. Finally, they began to nod, one by one. "The soldier is right," the woman said. "We must stand together, pool our resources and might to defend our world." As the impromptu council moved to adjourn and begin preparations, an aide rushed in, his face pale. He handed Wayne a datapad with trembling hands. Wayne scanned the message, his blood running cold. "Her massive Raymond fleet has been detected entering the solar system," he announced grimly. "They're heading straight for Earth. The invasion has begun." There was no time to waste. Wayne gathered his team and they raced to mobilize Earth's defenses. They deployed their most advanced weapons and tactical units to strategic points around the planet. Tanks rolled through city streets as anti-aircraft batteries swiveled to aim at the sky. Soldiers rushed to their posts, faces set with determination. Wayne strode to the front lines, a rifle clutched in his hands. He tilted his head back, watching as the first Riemann ships punched through the atmosphere, their hulls glinting in the sun. His eyes hardened with resolve. "It's all right, you alien bastards," he growled under his breath. "Let's see how you like a taste of human ingenuity and courage. We're not going down without a fight." As the Raymond warbeasts tore through Earth's cities, carving paths of destruction, Wayne and his men spearheaded the human resistance against the alien onslaught. They clashed with the creatures in brutal close-quarters urban combat, tapping into their knowledge of the city layouts to gain the upper hand. Wayne shouted orders to his troops, coordinating their movements through the rubble-choked streets. He constantly relayed tactics and intelligence to military forces across the globe, working to counter the Rayman's advanced weaponry and armor. "Focus fire on that beast's joints," Wayne yelled as his squad unloaded on a rampaging insectoid. Pulse rifle blasts scorched the creature's exoskeleton. "Keep moving! Don't let it pin you down!" In a desperate gambit, Wayne assembled an elite strike team for a high-stakes mission, infiltrating the Riemann command ship looming over the Manhattan ruins. They boarded a transport and rocketed towards the ominous alien craft. As they breached the hull and stormed inside, Wayne led the charge, pulse rifle blazing. They battled through waves of Riemann soldiers, the confined corridors echoing with the boom of gunfire and the shrieks of dying aliens. Wayne and his commandos pushed deeper into the ship, finally breaching the central control room. There, on a raised dais, sat Emperor Nox himself, his hideous visage snarling at them. "Foolish primates," he hissed. "You only delay your inevitable extinction." With a roar, Wayne lunged at Nox, closing into melee range. The two leaders traded blows in a whirlwind of slashing claws and thudding fists. Despite Nox's superior size and strength, Wayne held his own through skill and ferocity. He ducked under a swipe and rammed his rifle butt into Nox's torso, cracking chitin. The Emperor reeled back with an agonized screech. "This isn't over, human filth," Nox spat. He slammed a clawed fist onto the control panel and fled the room as alarms began to blare. The ship rumbled ominously. "He's activated the self-destruct," Wayne shouted to his team. "Move your asses double time." They sprinted through the shuddering ship, dodging falling debris and energy discharges. With precious seconds to spare, they hurled themselves out a breach in the hull, free-falling towards the city below. The mothership detonated above them in a blinding fireball that lit up the sky. Flaming wreckage rained down as Wayne and his strike force hit the streets hard, battered but miraculously alive. Cheers of joy and relief rose from the human defenders as they saw the Rayman ship's destruction. The soldiers clapped each other on the back, savoring this first major victory. But Wayne's face remained grim. He knew this fight was far from finished. The Raymans would be enraged by this defeat and the blow to their emperor's pride. They would intensify their assault tenfold, throwing everything they had at conquering Earth. The din of distant explosions and shrieks of war beasts echoed through the ravaged city. Wayne reloaded his rifle and stared out at the burning horizon, his expression hardening with resolve. The war was only beginning, and he would lead Earth's forces to the bitter end, no matter the cost. In the smoldering ruins of New York, Wayne's comm crackled to life. "Captain Hicks, we have actionable intel on a Riemann research facility in the Amazon," a gravelly voice relayed. "SIGINT indicates they're cooking up some real nasty shit there, next-gen war beasts, biological weapons. Stuff that could swing this whole damn war in their favor if we don't take it out ASAP." Wayne's jaw clenched, no rest for the weary. He gathered his squad, Sergeant Riggs on demo CPN and Tanner as their hacker, and Poofty Bullseye McAvoy, the best damn sniper in the unit. As dusk fell, they strapped on night vision goggles and tactical gear, then leapt from a Raptor dropship, chutes snapping open as they plummeted towards the jungle canopy. They hit the ground running, pulse rifles sweeping for hostiles. Steam rose from the mulchy earth as they pushed through the dense foliage, the buzz of alien insects filling the fetid air. Saucer-sized centipedes scurried underfoot, while venomous amphibians croaked in the shadows. Even without the Raymans, everything in this godforsaken jungle seemed evolved to kill. The team slogged for clicks through the undergrowth, dodging patrols of mantis-like Riemann scouts that zipped overhead on thrumming wings. As they neared the facility coordinates, Tanner held up a fist. "Hold up, I've got multiple heat signatures ahead, but some of them are human." Wayne dropped to a knee in the loamy soil, peering through his rifle scope at the figures gathered outside a bunker entrance. His enhanced vision zoomed in on a familiar face, and he swore under his breath. "I don't fucking believe it. That's Senator Crenshaw, that traitorous shitheel. What's he doing with the Remans?" The team crept closer, audio sensors straining to pick up the conversation. Crenshaw's nasal voice filtered through the humid air. "Aye, with the new viral strain, we can wipe out half the population in days. The rest will be too weak to resist your forces. We'll have this planet scrubbed clean for colonization within the month." Knox's chittering laughter sent chills down Wayne's spine. "And then, Senator, you and your associates can rule over the survivors as you see fit, as long as you remember who your true masters are." Wayne's blood boiled. He signaled his squad and they melted into the shadows circling the bunker. They had to hit hard and fast before those bioweapons got loose. On Wayne's mark, McAvoy's rifle cracked and a Riemann guard's head exploded in a spray of ichor. All hell broke loose. The humans hurled stun grenades and smoke bombs, then charged in firing Gauss rounds ripping through Reman exoskeletons. Tanner plugged into a wall terminal and his fingers flew over the haptic keys, ripping through layers of encryption. "I'm in. Downloading all the data on the bioweapons now." Riggs lobbed demo charges left and right, blasting apart weapons caches and viral agent storage tanks. Viscous green fluid spattered the pitted concrete. The air sizzled with plasma bolts and pulse blasts as the firefight raged. Wayne vaulted a crate and found himself face to face with Crenshaw. The senator's eyes widened in shock before narrowing in rage. You're too late, Captain. The Riemann Empire will reign supreme." Wayne shut him up with an armored fist to the face. They traded brutal blows, smashing into equipment and toppling shelving units. Crenshaw fought dirty, clawing at Wayne's eyes, but the captain had raw fury on his side. He headbutted Crenshaw and felt the traitor's nose crunch, then flipped him over his shoulder and slammed him to the floor, pressing the barrel of his sidearm to his former friend's temple. "It's over, you traitorous fuck," Wayne snarled. "You're a disgrace to the uniform." Crenshaw spat a bloody tooth. "Fool. You think this is the only facility? Knox's web stretches across the globe. Cut off one strand and a dozen more take its place. You've already lost." Wayne's finger tightened on the trigger, but Riggs's shout snapped him back to the mission. "Boss, let's go. This whole place is rigged to blow." He zip-tied Crenshaw's wrists and ankles, leaving him for the MPs. The team sprinted for the exit as warning klaxons blared and the bunker shook. They hit the tree line just as the jungle lit up like the 4th of fucking July behind them, the research facility vanishing in a mushroom cloud of flame and debris. Coughing in the swirling dust, Wayne clapped Tanner on the shoulder. "Please tell me you got the intel." The hacker grinned and held up a data drive. "Every last byte. But you're not going to like what it says. The Riemanns have more of these places scattered around the planet, and this new bioweapon, it's some seriously bad juju." Wayne took the drive grimly. The Riemann plot went deeper than they ever suspected, a sprawling conspiracy of traitors and alien horrors. But now they knew the score, and they would burn Knox's whole goddamn web to ash, whatever it took. Earth was humanity's home. Her people, from the jungles to the cities, were Wayne's family, and he'd be damned if he let any alien scum, or their quisling bootlickers, take that from him. The war had entered a terrifying new phase, but Wayne and his team would meet it head-on, guns blazing and hearts defiant. They were humanity's best hope, maybe its only hope. And they would not fail. Could not fail. The alternative was too horrific to consider. The Amazon facility's destruction sent shockwaves through the Riemann ranks. With their plans for genetically engineered superweapons exposed, dissent and paranoia spread like wildfire. Knox found himself beset by challenges to his authority from within his own command structure. His alliance with the human traitors started to crumble as they turned on each other, vying for power in the post-invasion world order they envisioned. Wayne and his team wasted no time capitalizing on this chaos. They transmitted the damning evidence of the collaborators' treachery across every frequency and platform, ensuring the whole world knew the depths of the betrayal. The revelations sparked a groundswell of resistance, uniting humanity against the invaders with renewed purpose and ferocity. Seizing the initiative, the Global Defense Coalition launched a coordinated counteroffensive, striking at the Riemanns on every front. The alien forces, once an inexorable juggernaut, now found themselves on the defensive as human ingenuity and tenacity turned the tide. At the vanguard of the assault was Wayne, piloting a sleek fighter bristling with hybrid human-Riemann tech. He and his wingmates tore through the alien battle formations, pulse cannons flaring as they wove through the skeletal remains of shattered skyscrapers. Riemann ships exploded into fireballs or crashed to the cratered streets below, their wreckage adding to the hellish obstacle course. On the blood-soaked ground, human strike teams advanced block by block, their new armor-piercing weapons scything through the once impervious carapaces of the warbeasts. Artillery and airstrikes rained down on the Riemann lines, the concussive blasts drowning out their chittering battle cries. The stench of cordite ash and alien ichor choked the air. Yet even in retreat, the Riemanns remained deadly. Nox, his schemes unraveling, played his final card. Huge dropships disgorged swarms of new war beasts into Earth's major population centers. These abominations, the product of the Riemann's twisted bioengineering, were even larger and more vicious than their predecessors. Claws that could gouge through tank armor, venom that melted flesh from bone, hides that shrugged off all but the heaviest ordnance. They overran humanity's defenses, slaughtering soldier and civilian alike in a tide of unrelenting savagery. Wayne, watching the carnage unfold on his cockpit displays, felt a cold, terrible clarity settle over him. He knew what had to be done, the price that must be paid to end this war. Switching to the global defense net, he issued a flurry of orders, his voice calm and unwavering. Then he banked his fighter toward the heart of the largest Riemann swarm, a nuclear device armed and primed in his payload bay. He didn't hesitate as he dove into the mass of chitin and claws, even as talons raked his fuselage and ichor smeared across his canopy. He could hear the shouts of alarm, the pleas for him to pull up, to eject, but he shut them out. This was his duty, his sacrifice. He released the bomb into the core of the swarm, then yanked back on the stick with all his might. The ejection seat rockets fired, hurling him clear an instant before the nuke detonated. A new sun bloomed in the ravaged cityscape, the shockwave flattening buildings for miles in every direction. The swarm, caught at the epicenter, simply ceased to exist, vaporized into atoms. Wayne, his body broken and burned, watched through fading vision as Nox's ship, caught in the blast, spiraled out of the sky, trailing smoke and flames to smash into the ruins below. With his last breath, he whispered a final prayer for the soldiers he knew would follow him into that hell to finish what he'd started. Then Captain Wayne Hicks, the man who had given everything to save his world, slipped away into eternity, a slight smile on his seared lips. The battle was not yet won, but the path to victory was now laid clear by Wayne's final selfless act. Humanity's forces converged on Nox's downed ship, the Imperial Guard falling before their vengeful onslaught. They breached the hull and stormed the corridors slick with alien blood, until at last only the throne room remained. It was Riggs, Wayne's right hand, his brother-in-arms, who kicked down that final door, pulse rifle leveled and eyes alight with righteous fury. Nox rose from his throne to meet him, a cruel blade in each clawed fist. "Your species is broken, your cities are ash," the Emperor hissed, mandibles dripping. "Surrender and your death shall be swift." Riggs smiled a smile that held no mirth, only cold promise. "You made one mistake, Bug, you pissed us off." He opened fire, full auto, as he charged. Nox swayed and leapt, his blades seeking human flesh. The duel was vicious, primal, two apex predators locked in a death spiral. They traded cuts, bruises, and broken bones, neither willing to yield. But Riggs fought with the strength of a man who'd lost everything, who had nothing left to lose. And in the end, as blood pooled and alarms blared, it was enough. Riggs stood over Nox's twitching corpse, his rifle barrel smoking. "For Earth, you son of a bitch!" The war was over. Earth, battered and bloodied but unbroken, was free. But the scars ran soul-deep, the sacrifices etched into history. Cities would be rebuilt, monuments erected, stories of courage and loss passed down through generations. The galaxy would learn of the small blue world that had defied an empire, of the heroes who had laid down their lives so that others might live. And children not yet born would hear the name of Wayne Hicks and dream of growing up to be just like him, indomitable, unyielding, human. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.